Find a clock, a real one, with the second hand ticking around the face. Now snap your eyes to it, suddenly, like you just heard your name called across the room, and watch that very first tick. For just a moment, the hand seems to hang there, frozen. That first second stretches, lasts a beat too long, like time itself stumbled before catching up. You've felt this your whole life. You glance at a clock, and the second hand seems stuck, refusing to move, and then it ticks on as if nothing happened. Most people shrug it off. But here's the unsettling part. That frozen moment never actually happened. The clock didn't pause. Time didn't stumble. Your own brain quietly invented a slice of time that did not exist, and then handed it to you as if it were real. By the end of this, you're going to understand exactly how your brain forges these little pockets of fake time, why it does it dozens of times a minute without ever telling you, and why the smooth, continuous now you think you're living in is partly a story stitched together after the fact. Start with what you assume is happening when you look around the room you're in right now. It feels like your eyes are a camera, a smooth, honest video feed, pouring the world into your head, moment by moment, continuous and complete. That feeling is one of the most convincing illusions your brain produces, because your eyes do not glide smoothly across a scene. They jump. Right now, as you take in this space, your eyes are flicking from point to point in tiny, violent jerks called saccades. 3, 4, sometimes 5 of them every single second. Your gaze doesn't sweep like a movie camera panning across a room. It snaps. Lock here, snap. Lock there, snap. Lock again. You never notice, because the jumps are fast and constant, and you've been doing it every waking moment since you were born. But those jumps create a serious problem, and your brain has to solve it in secret. Here's the problem. When your eye whips from one spot to another, the image smears across your retina, a blur far too fast and messy to be useful. So your brain does something drastic. During each jump, it basically switches the lights off. It throws away that smeared garbage and stops showing it to you at all. You go briefly, completely blind, several times a second. You can catch this one yourself, right now. Look into a mirror and stare at your own left eye. Then flick your gaze over to your right eye. You will never, ever see your own eyes move. Try it again, back and forth, as fast as you like. The movement is simply gone. Someone standing next to you can clearly watch your eyes darting around. But you? You see a series of still, steady snapshots, and never the motion between them. Your brain edited the blur out before you could notice. So now think about what that means. Several times a second, there's a little gap, a blackout, while your eye is in flight. If your brain just left those gaps in, your experience of the world would stutter and flicker like a bad connection. A gap, an image, a gap, an image. But that's not what you feel. What you feel is seamless, unbroken. So how does your brain hide the holes? It does something genuinely sneaky. It cheats with time. When your eyes land on a new target, your brain takes that fresh image, the very first thing you see after the jump, and it backdates it. It pretends you started seeing that image earlier than you really did, stretching it backwards to cover the blackout you just had. It quietly fills the empty gap with the destination, as if you'd been looking there the whole time. And that is exactly why the clock freezes. When you snap your eyes to that ticking second hand, your brain grabs the first frozen image of the hand and smears it backwards in time to paper over the jump. So the very first second you see on that clock isn't 1 second long. It's 1 second plus the little stolen stretch your brain used to hide the blink. That extra padding is why the hand seems to hang there, stuck, refusing to move. You are literally perceiving a moment that was manufactured to cover a gap. This isn't a vague idea, either. Scientists measured it. In 2001, A team of researchers led by Yarrow published a study in the journal Nature, doing the exact thing I just asked you to do. They had people flick their eyes onto a clock and report how long that first interval felt. And the illusion was real and consistent. That first second got inflated by up to about 1/10 of a second of pure invention. They called the effect chronostasis, which literally means time standing still. A measurable, repeatable little lie, baked right into how you see. And once you really sit with that, it cracks open something much bigger. You like to think you live in the present, that now is this crisp live broadcast arriving the instant it happens. But it isn't. The now you experience is a construction. Your brain is constantly editing, filling gaps, backdating images, smoothing over its own blackouts, and then presenting the finished, polished cut to you as if it were the raw live feed. You are always watching a version of reality that's been quietly assembled a fraction of a second after the fact. And here's the thing. This is not a flaw. It's a gift. A brain that showed you every blur, every blackout, every jump, honestly, in real time, would be unbearable. The world would shudder and go dark and lurch dozens of times a second. So your brain made a trade. It gives up being perfectly truthful about time in exchange for giving you something steady to live inside. It would rather hand you a smooth, slightly fictional now than a true one you couldn't stand. Almost always, that's the right call. The frozen clock is just the rare moment the seam shows. So here's what I want you to actually do. Pause for a second and go find a clock with a moving second hand. A wall clock, your phone, an old watch, anything that ticks. Look away from it, off to the side. Then snap your eyes straight onto the second hand and freeze. Don't move your gaze. Just stare and watch that first tick. Feel it hang there a beat too long. That little hesitation, that stretched second, is your brain caught in the act. It is the precise moment you can feel your own mind forging time right in the palm of your hand. Because this isn't a party trick happening to other people. It's happening to you right now, 3 or 4 times every second, behind every glance you take for the rest of your life. The seamless world you're so sure you're seeing is full of invisible splices, tiny as... You have never actually seen the in-between. You've only ever seen the edit. So tell me down in the comments, when you snapped your eyes to that clock, did the second hand freeze for you? How long did that first tick feel? A normal second or way too long? And if it didn't work the first time, say that too. I want to know. And if you like catching your own brain red-handed like this, here's the perfect next one. There's a gorilla that can walk right through the middle of your vision while you stare straight at it, and you'll never see it. Go watch the one on change blindness next, and catch your mind in the act all over again.